Hello and welcome to The Studio Demands It, an exercise in creative thinking where we will conceptualize, pitch, and craft a film or series based on the demands from one of you listeners acting as a hypothetical Hollywood overlord.
I should keep it to a refrain.
As professional screenwriters ourselves and massive cinephiles, we talk movies
all the time.
And we'd like to believe that we could meet any demand thrown at us. We will be your screenwriters for this episode. I am TC DeWitt, and joining me, as always, is Jim Why'd the Chicken Cross the Road? Brzelik. Jim, it was brought to my attention recently. The reason there's two reasons I chose this as your middle, or I found out this was your middle name and was excited to learn that this was your middle name. One, that quite possibly could be the oldest joke in existence.
Okay.
And today we are going to delve into some public domain conversation.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
But secondly, someone brought my attention, the punchline of that joke is not what I've perceived it as my entire life.
Brzelik?
All right, thank you for listening, everybody. I can't top that, no. Okay, why'd the chicken cross the road?
Brzelik.
It's Brzelik.
To get to the other side.
Right. It was brought to my attention that that's not that what we literally think it was. It could be interpreted as, and some people have interpreted as, why'd the chicken walk into traffic? To die. To get to the other side.
Oh.
It never dawned on me that could be a way to read that joke. Is that why did the chicken cross the road? To end his life?
I don't think that's...
No?
I think that... No. I think... I think the point to that joke is... I can't think of another example right now other than...
There is no subversion of expectation. Is exactly...
It's
literal.
Yeah, it's the... Because you're expecting a clever answer, and it's the most obvious thing.
Yeah.
But it's absurd in that we don't think about the notion of chickens wanting things.
Yeah, I mean I just always assumed that was the joke, was just, and
I'm going to continue to do so. I don't like I applaud that analysis of like, oh, the other side it's a suicidal
it's a suicidal chicken.
Like I can also see the humor in that, but I do not believe that is the original intent of that joke.
You and I brainstormed a sketch idea that the guy who who came up with the joke of why the chicken crossed the road, and I don't know if there'll probably be some way to figure out a way to like put that somewhere animated or performative. But when I think about humor of so long ago, what's the origin of it, and how funny people must have thought that was like, it is the joke of jokes. It could be written in stone for all we know. Everyone knows that joke. Every child knows that joke. It's that and knock knock who's there, and then some punchline there. But even that takes more thought than why the chicken crossed the road. The reason the how humor changes and evolves. When I was little, I was obsessed with Looney Tunes. The first biographies I read as school assignments, we had to read a biography. I read the biography of Walt Disney, and then I read, and I still have both these books to this day, 50 Years and Only One Gray Hair, the biography of Bugs Bunny. And reading like the story of Looney Tunes and Merry Melodies and how that all came to be, and that when those original cartoons were in theaters, people were rolling with laughter. It was people were like in stitches with tears, crying, like laughing so hard at seeing Looney Tunes. And even though I loved Looney Tunes, you can spot what's animated to move. You can the pattern, the rhythm of Looney Tunes. But to think that there was a time that was the height of comedy is I don't know, fascinating to me.
Yeah.
Tastes evolved. I mean, just looking Simpsons to South Park to Family Guy, like the evolution of edgy comedy on television, the Flintstones before that. Like,
sure.
But did you? I know you like Looney Tunes. Which you had mentioned before we started the episode that Looney Tunes was your go-to for Saturday morning. Tell me about that. I'll keep talking, but you're here too.
Nah. I don't know what to say.
Well, like,
Yep, I sure liked them.
like there's a big issue that has come about with decades, a century of Mickey Mouse and decade, I guess, almost a century of Bugs Bunny, is that it's become difficult to do anything with these characters. It's like they're so beloved that it's difficult for them to break the brand.
I don't know if that's really true. Like I thought that for a while, and then like a year or two ago, I saw that on Disney, for example, they actually have gone because
Yes,
I lamented that they weren't making like Mickey Mouse cartoons, and then
Surprise.
it turns out they are,
Yeah.
and they're not, and it wasn't even like they weren't even doing like really kind of cutesy stuff. They went back to like his he wasn't black and white. He had the red pants, but like that where the
button eyes.
button eyes. Yeah, there you go. They did the button eyes Mickey, and he's getting into mischief,
Shenanigans.
Not just I got to get out of shenanigans, which is what the cuter later Mickey Mouse did, but he was causing mischief.
They similarly.
I feel like they went a bit too far with Goofy in that they made him this.
Gosh.
In that cartoon that I saw recently, they made him this weird. Like I'm. The only way to describe him sounds appropriate, but I feel like he's actually too far from what Goofy was.
I know the cartoon you're speaking of, and what Goofy feels like in that is like if SpongeBob were watching a Goofy cartoon, and in the SpongeBob universe, the idea of Goofy. Similarly, they've also gone back to classic Looney Tunes. So they're only on HBO Max, and they're actually hard to find, but there's 3 seasons of classic style Bugs Bunny, Daffy Duck, Porky Pig cartoons.
Okay.
Like Bugs even has yellow gloves. Like they've gone that far back in the style of it, and it's fantastic stuff. But no one knows about this because Mickey and Bugs are a bit passé, and people aren't just like gravitating towards them. The brand existed in such a way where they were held in that high regard for so long. It's hard to win. It's hard to change them to the point of winning new audience members.
I have a feeling Disney and Warner Brothers aren't. I don't know if they're consciously doing this, but if they are bringing them, they're basically making them for kids again. And so ideally, these kids will get older, and then there will be nostalgia for them that they will then make movies and merchandise about. Because looking at the things that are popular now, Mickey and Bugs don't resonate with the current audiences because they were already institutions.
Yes.
And actually, weirdly, they are now not the characters kids grew up with. They grew up with Mario and Sonic and what else is being
Minecraft.
They're
Steve.
Yeah, these characters, and so that's why we're seeing these characters get movies and
SpongeBob's getting his like
that.
4th theatrically released film.
Yeah,
but they're to go back to holding them as institutions and holding them in such a prestigious position, that were their attempts to do something different with the characters, they were either really wrong-headed, which is more what Warner Brothers kept screwing up with, or the attempts were not met and received in such a way that Disney, like for example, back in 95, the Goofy movie came out. There was a short film that aired before a Goofy movie called Mickey's Runaway Brain. And Mickey's brain escapes and he chases down. It's really hyperly animated, it's pre-CG animation, so it's still like that wonderful hand-drawn, but like we're talking 90s, the peak of hand-drawn animation, 90s stuff. And it was buried because it was met by snooty parents, probably like my mom, were like, this is not my Mickey Mouse, this is inappropriate. And there was a backlash to having such an outrageous modern Mickey. I would love to show you the cartoon, and if anyone listening hasn't seen it, it is up on YouTube. You can find it pretty easily. So it's just Runaway Brain, Mickey Mouse Runaway Brain. It's beautifully animated. It looks great, and they do not have it on Disney Plus. They didn't even release it with the Goofy movie. They buried it because the reception of seeing Mickey out of his familiar circumstances of just like, oh, I'm going to the bank. come on, Pluto! Oh, my quarter fell in the grate. Like that Mickey became so safe and watered down, and it just wasn't. There's no panache to it. It wasn't winning over '90s kids.
Well,
that's not true because I loved it. But
that speaks sort of to the era and the people making the things. Like you can still do. I know this goes even further back, but Mickey as the tailor, the brave tailor Mickey. Right. That was still the Mickey, the gee golly gosh Mickey.
But that's from 1947.
That's 47?
Yeah.
My point is, I think that there were ways to do newer stories, because there was it Little Mermaid? The theatrical release had I think it was the Three Musketeers. It was
Mickey and the Three Musketeers. Yeah, that's going to be 90s Mickey.
Yeah. And that was a great cartoon. I don't remember people disliking it, and I remember seeing it, thinking, "Hooray! We'll see more," and we did not.
We did not. 2004, as a matter of fact, even further along in the timeline.
Oh, then I'm thinking of a different cartoon.
But no, Mickey would come. Mickey, like Kermit, like Bugs, are these institutions, the perfect word for it, that they would only go so far in risking what to do with these characters, and it's a shame. Because even when I was 12 years old, I wrote a letter to Disney. I don't know where it went. My mom mailed it. But I wrote 10 ideas for movies they should do, and one of them was a Mickey Mouse cartoon. Like, Mickey deserves a feature film. Goofy has one. Why doesn't Mickey have one? I don't know. I probably...
Well, because Goofy also had a TV show that proved big enough to launch a movie.
True. Maybe if
but
Mickey
Donald also had an entire duck verse that they incorporated other animals into. Where was Mickey? This is our investigative podcast.
Yes, thank you very much. Where is Mickey? We uncovered this. Weirdly, about Donald Duck in the Uncle Scrooge comics, one of the greatest selling comics of its era, DuckTales for the first it's 100 episodes, but like the first 50 episodes are just direct replications of the comics minus Donald, because apparently they thought couldn't be a great main character, so they gave it to Uncle Scrooge and the kids. So the reason I bring this up, and this actually gets us a little further here into the demand of the day, since we're talking specifically about Mickey. I have other thoughts about why Looney Tunes and Bugs Bunny didn't work out, but I had mentioned before we did episode proper that we're likely going to do a Looney Tunes episode. So we might come back to some of this conversation. Okay. Specifically about Warner Brothers. So let's stick with Mickey. And knowing that Steamboat Willie is public domain now, I went through our demands to see if anyone had sent us a demand with that topic. Okay. So that being said, I did find one, and we're going to read it now for the first time. So here we go. This is from Craig at Goose Egg Studios. Goose Egg Studios. Hey, TC and... Hey, TC and Jim middle names. That's funny. We always make a deal about your middle names. That's funny. Hey, TC and Jim middle names. Long-time listener, first-time studio. Clever. Good job. With Steamboat Willie entering the public domain, there is little to no doubt that we will get a Winnie the Pooh blood and honey treatment as soon as humanly possible. Yes. So this demand.
They're even making a sequel at this point.
Oh God. And it's all but assured it will be schlock in either the best or worst ways, with no middle ground. But Willie is public domain. Nothing to stop you fellas from doing it yourselves. The studio demands a Steamboat Willie horror and/or slasher movie. Thanks for being awesome, chaps. Thank you, Craig at Goose Egg Studios. Okay, simple as that. This is what I was hoping it would be. A Steamboat Willie movie. Okay. Now, I anticipated that's what this was going to be, because it was almost immediately as soon as Steamboat Willie went public domain, it was announced, like, we're going to do a murder version. Yep. So this is what I was hoping it would be, is let's do a killer Steamboat Willie. Have you seen Steamboat Willie?
No.
You haven't?
I'm sure I have. Yeah. I have very little recollection. Okay. I have the image that everyone has of him. Yep.
I mean, he's been that's the spokesperson animation for Disney Animation Studios.
Yep.
So I can do one of two things for you right now.
Yeah.
I can either zap it into your brain, or we can watch it live. It's 7 minutes long.
Okay.
What do you want to do? You choose.
A few moments later.
That's it.
Wait, that's how it ended?
No vengeance.
Okay. All right.
Oh, there's that Mickey we're talking about.
And Mickey did kill someone in that. So.
Wait, who did Mickey kill?
The bird at the end.
He killed the bird. Okay, I missed that.
With a potato. With half of a potato.
All right, so I have electronically zapped Steamboat Willie into your brain, Jim.
Yes, you did.
So now it's so fresh in your head. So Steamboat Willie now
It's already a horror slasher.
Yeah, I mean he killed that bird at the end, and he abused several animals in this entire production.
It was for the sake of music.
Yeah. Oh, then it's okay.
Yeah.
What we do for our art. I have actually a tangential thing I want to talk about. Public domain has become this. Every year, things enter the public domain. It's something that's been going on. Like copyright law is in the freaking Constitution. Like America was founded with copyright issues already being a thing.
Yes.
So things entering the public domain. Disney is certainly responsible for the longitude that things have. Sorry, the longevity that things remain out of the public domain because they manipulate the systems, change the laws and whatnot. But things entering the public domain, it should be this like, hey, Peter Pan is now yours. Alice in Wonderland is now yours. Mickey's now yours. But more and more often in the past few years, I feel like it becomes this celebration of how can we abuse these things that are now ours.
That was actually a reason that a lot of these larger companies wanted to preserve it. It is out of greed, but it's also out of preserving the saying it's preserving the sanctity of it is disingenuous. Right, like Disney didn't want salacious things associated with Mickey Mouse, and they knew it would happen if it was public domain, because it did happen in the 70s. The zines and underground comics of the era did all kinds of parody stuff,
R-rated, X-rated stuff. Yeah.
Like
and it was a lot of like biting thumb at the system, damn the man, like corporate evil.
And that's why the response is the moment it becomes available to do salacious things with it, because this thing had remained
protected
or
under
and
this
so
veil.
And so there's this notion to desecrate it.
I get that, but I don't know. There's this celebration now of messing with things, and I don't know. Maybe the corporate mindset has manipulated me enough to go, well, come on, do we really?
Well, also you use the word now. I don't think it's a now thing. That's the other reason I bring up the 70s. I think there's always been that element, that thought to for as a part of society to do things. There is a dark streak in humanity that wants to desecrate pure things. That wants to ruin good things.
The corruption of the innocents. And I'm not against spinning characters on their head or using them as for satire purposes or commentary purposes. I mean, hell, political cartoons exist for this very reason, to take existing things and speak of them against what they're supposed to represent, or point, like shine a light on them. Outland or Opus, the Penguin. There's a Mickey Mouse equivalent in there that's Bloom County had for years.
Yeah,
what are you giggling at?
The way you blurted out the answer.
Bloom County. I was trying to remember the name of it because it's specifically in there that had the character, but Berkeley Breathed had a lot of commentary. He's definitely a product of the post-Vietnam era commentary on the system. He's a hippie. He just happened to be very, very good at satire and very good
Mm-hmm.
at commentary. And I remember as a kid seeing, oh, he's making fun of Mickey. I get that, but I also understand it's being done for like there's a purpose behind it. I like when Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey came out. I couldn't roll my eyes hard enough, and of course, there's going to be a slasher Steamboat Willie. So I'm not coming in this demand going like I don't want to do this. It's just more of I do want to do it. I want to find a fun way to do this. Do you have any? Now I think I've got out of my system what I wanted to like bitch about as far as public domain goes.
Why can't we have nice, cute things? Why do we always gotta get them dirty?
I don't know. It's becoming less and less the celebration. Go back to my original point. It's less and less about the celebration of this belongs to the world now. It's more of like, how can we mess this up? Yeah, let's do this. And it's so far beyond the commentary and the satire to this. It feels like deeply rooted in cruelty and cynicism.
Cynicism, sure. Cruelty, I don't know so much about that. Because there is also the notion of these things also to those people represent could at least represent a hypocritical society. Like, no, life is not a pure, nice, good thing, and this thing which has become a symbol of that, and like, oh, this is the sanctity of what is good about the world. No, the world is harsh and terrible. We've been dealt a terrible hand, and we're not going to let your stupid symbol of purity remain, because it, by being that, undermines its own symbol and is actually a symbol of oppression and denial.
See, I love that. I love that. Like you said it so eloquently. I'm like, yeah, do more of that shit. Okay, so to go to the demand at hand here, there's one last thing I want to talk about, which is Escape from Tomorrowland, which is the independent film that was shot without permits in Disneyland and Disney World. Have you ever seen it?
I did.
Okay. Interesting ideas. I don't think it's a good movie.
Yeah.
I think there's way too many ideas and none of them like truly take form. And there's probably four different movies.
Probably could have been done like in half the time.
Yeah, or focus in on one of the stories and tell that.
Yeah.
It's like too many things. So I'm for this. I'm for the idea of like, let's take Steamboat Willie and do something with it. But now that I've zapped it into your brain, it's fresh in your head. What do you do with Steamboat Willie? It's a 7.5 minute cartoon. It's Mickey Mouse as Steamboat Willie as he's not the boatsman. Is that what you said?
The bosun, the boat swain.
The boat swain.
He's the bosun.
And I seemingly Pegleg Pete is his boss. And there's some animals and Minnie shows up at one point. What do we do? How do you make Screamboat Killie?
Yes, that's the name.
Do you like that?
I do.
Screamboat Killie. There we go. I think the one coming out is called Screamboat. But we are clever enough to add Killie at the end. What are they going to do? Sue us? Come at me, Screamboat.
You know, technically, that's the weird thing about copyright is they probably could have made Screamboat Killie
ages
before,
ago. Yeah.
Because it would be protected under parody. But it's more right. It's more of a. It's more poignant, and you can point at the reason for it because it's now public domain. And also, just because it's parody doesn't mean Disney ain't going to come after you.
Yeah. You don't want to mess with the mouse. And to be clear, we're only talking about Steamboat Willie. We're not talking about anything else Mickey Mouse related in this film.
Right, so... Okay, so off the top of my head, well, first, we're going to have to... put a lot more flesh on this skeleton than is there. We're going to have to shove a lot more hay into this cow.
We got to expand. The cow is definitely too thin, and we need to make it fat enough to get it over the water and onto
the boat. Yeah.
And I'm thinking we're talking true slasher here, right?
Okay.
Is that where you're going with it? Like
maybe.
Do you? Okay.
I'm not sure. What I'm thinking is I was just going to start beating out the story.
Okay. Go ahead.
So because it's on a steamboat, and it's being used as a mode of transportation, that almost necessitates it being a period piece.
Got it. Yeah, the steamboat, sure.
I suppose it doesn't have to, but that's where my mind first goes, and the reason for that is because this steamboat is the only boat that's now going to be traversing from point A to the necessary point B.
Okay.
And our our final girl, Minnie Mouse. Actually, that's interesting. Steamboat Willie is public domain. That cartoon is public domain.
That cartoon, yeah.
None of the personalities are, so we probably have to give her a different name.
Right. She could just be called. For example, we can't call him Peg Leg Pete. He's Captain Pete in the short. I believe it's. I'll look this up to verify, but she very well could just be Minnie. Minnie Mouse appears. So while Mickey is referred to as Steamboat Willie, I guess Steamboat Minnie we'll call her. But whatever the case, this version of her, the musician with the guitar.
Maybe he actually is Mickey, and Willie is just some sort of name for dancing.
Well, at the time,
or a song like, "Hey, let's listen to another Willie. Hey, let's."
You weren't aware, but actually, at the time when it made it, a Willie was a really offensive term.
Oh, okay, that makes sense.
So we have,
all right, so we have our final girl, and she is late for something.
She's a musician.
She is a musician. So she's late for the Philharmonic.
No, she was hired to. Was hired to be the entertainment on this boat.
No, that's too direct.
Okay.
She needs to catch this boat to go somewhere.
Okay. She's heading to New Orleans to start her career in jazz.
Sure.
She's going to be the first successful female jazz guitar player.
Jazz ukulele.
We'll say it's a guitar. It's a guitar.
Okay. Or she could be going upriver to Tennessee to make it big in Branson.
She's the first successful Branson country guitar player.
Yep.
Now, are you thinking this could be done in like 1928 is when it originally came out? Are we setting this in 1928?
We could do that,
okay,
yeah.
Okay.
And sort of like in the cartoon, she misses the boat. She's running late, so she has to somehow catch up to get onto it, and we can have some kind of I wouldn't say adventure, but some sort of like actiony kind of scene of her running
on the boat.
Yeah, something like that. Like in like any good horror movie, someone needs to warn her, like maybe while she's running, or she gets to the dock, and the first thing they say is, "Oh, you're lucky you missed the boat."
Yeah.
Kind of.
Like she gets to the pier.
Like, that's not good.
Like she gets to the pier, and there's some old like, I see trying to make the steamboat. You know, you're lucky. Boarding a steamboat as the sun sets.
Yeah, it's something like that. Yeah.
Superstition says you'll die by sunrise.
By knife.
By a knife. Someone's gonna play the duck on you.
Play the duck on you.
As you know, because of the era it was made in, play the duck
offensive.
is a very offensive term. I'm just gonna keep saying that for everything. No, I won't. The boat's leaving, and the movies Minnie is our main character. We introduce her in the movie opens with her racing.
It doesn't necessarily open with her. This is a murder movie, so we need other victims, and it can't just be barnyard animals.
There's passengers on the steamboat.
Yes.
Could this be a riverboat as opposed to just a straight up steamboat, but like actually putting gamblers on this thing, some ne'er-do-wells?
No, it has to be a boat powered by screams.
Because it's a steamboat. Yeah.
Yes, it could be, but is it still a steamboat if it is a riverboat or a paddle boat?
Are riverboats not steamboats? What qualifies as a steamboat?
I think maybe they might be types of steamboats.
Like a boat that is propelled primarily by steam power and driving propellers and paddle wheels, that's a steamboat. So we very well could have like a Mark Twain sized paddle boat casino. That's a paddle boat casino. I didn't mean, but having like a big multi-storied 50 passengers on this thing. Like we can have Ghost Ship. Ghost Ship with mice. Yeah, Ghost Ship with mice. There you go. So that's it. We've done
and there we go.
Just do Ghost Ship. So we can have a whole bunch of passengers on this thing.
We could, if you want to go that big, we can. I'm thinking something more like the ship in King Kong.
Okay. Yeah.
Something where the crew already seems off, and the people who initially have booked passage almost immediately start questioning if this was a good idea.
Yeah.
Because it's a creepy boat.
Yeah, I mean that's still a big. It's still a big boat. It's a one
Stack.
one stack boat.
Sure. Yeah.
Like that. At least if you're directly when you directly reference the King Kong boat, I think of the one from Peter Jackson. And that's a one stack, coal powered.
Yeah.
Yeah. So not. I mean that size.
It's not a casino on a river. It can be. We can do like I said. We can do that. We could go that big if you want. But I was thinking something that would be like 6 passengers, and the 2 or 3 crew.
Okay. Yeah. Let's say 10 total people on this boat.
Sure.
Okay. And she just happens to. So we meet Will, our main character. Like Will and Minnie are going to be our main characters.
Maybe. Sure.
So like if the movie opens with just the credits are rolling and they're loading the ship up, we have like a nice reference to the cow, like the livestock going on.
Oh, and there will be a bunch of livestock being put on. Basically, I'm thinking it could even be referenced. It would whether the captain says it or someone else says it, that like we don't normally take passengers, so
well
stay in your cabins, kind of like because they normally do cargo and livestock.
And seeing as Pete in the history of the Mickey cartoons, the Disney cartoons, is a villain of sorts, having him be some sort of riverboat pirate kind of thing, like smuggler. Excuse me, a smuggler. I'm really terrified right now. That the people running the ship aren't the cleanest of folk. Like they are criminal types.
Sure. I'm leaning more toward creepy. I'm looking to make this a murder.
Okay.
A murder show.
Do you want? Okay, I guess that actually fast forwarding a little bit. She gets on. She's heading downriver to perform somewhere. She's the last passenger expected. They're happy to take these people's money, though they don't normally have passengers. The crew is creepy and weird. For the actual murdering here, is it supernatural or is it just a person? Are we talking a riverboat swamp person who has just crawled on board and is starting to slash people, or is this the Southern Demeter?
I was just thinking murder.
Okay,
just straight, and it can like they might think it's supernatural at first.
I like that like the mistake of it being like, the curse, the full moon, bring it, I'll bring it down here and kill you.
I like that Jimmy Stewart is our what does what's that role called in Cabin in the Woods?
Just a sage.
I'm not gonna remember it now. Crap. It doesn't matter.
It's all right.
But yes, that
just
voice,
the old man, like the ancient one is. The old man is the name of the character who warns them.
But they call him something. They call him. I am bad at talking while also looking things up.
Okay, so I like the notion that it is presumed to be supernatural, but then it just ends up being some like
the Herald.
The Herald, there you go. Some 3-toothed inbred swamp river person.
It's Willie.
Will, like our main character, ends up being the killer.
Minnie's our main character.
Oh, right. But I had suggested that
you had said that, and I never actually agreed to it because my notion is he is the killer. After all, the movie is called Screamboat Killie.
Yeah. Is he a freak or is he?
He doesn't have to be. Maybe that's a part of the misdirection.
I think so.
He seems to be I seem to be just as trapped here as the rest of you guys. We're gonna try to get you there safe.
Yeah.
Because Pete seems salacious and creepy.
The other crew members seem weird.
And he wants to take their money, and maybe he's going to take their lives.
Mm-hmm.
And the 1 or 2 other crew are also, right, like one guy wears a rain slicker and never takes it off.
The other one has an eye patch.
Yeah, right.
Of course, there's a herald on the boat, the pier. And he's a suspect
Oh,
too.
well, that guy would be the herald, because the herald is the one who warns them away.
Smoking a pipe.
Yes, you are. Bubbles coming out.
It is a G-rated movie after all.
Why? Why are we making a G-rated horror movie?
The Tiny Toons could pull it off. They did Blade Runner.
Oh, they could. Simpsons did Cape Fear.
Yeah, Simpsons is naughty.
Did Tiny Toons actually do Night of the Hunter?
Oh, gee, I don't know.
I feel like they did, but that's only occurring to me now because I only learned about Night of the Hunter years after watching. I'm gonna have to go back and find out.
Okay, so if Willie ends up being the murderer on this, but he's like a handsome young sailor on
A
the
Timothy
boat.
Chalamet.
Oh, yes. Is Timothy available?
Of course he is. He's not doing anything.
Okay, great. Oh, Timothy Chalamet. So he's the is that too obvious that he ends up being the killer?
Not every movie needs a twist, and not every twist needs to be untelegraphed.
Okay, yeah. So it's like obviously it's him. Like, people watching the movie are like, it's him. He's the good-looking guy's the killer.
I mean, do we want to do Rope where we show that he's the killer and then we just have to see how he hides it and how the others don't believe it?
How about this? If it's so obvious, it's like obvious and the audience knows, and it's just a matter of getting away with it. In the end, when it's finally revealed that he is the killer, he is possessed by a demon. That is the actual, like, so then it does become supernatural in the end. So sort of like 10 Cloverfield Lane is like you don't know what to believe until the end, and then surprise, he was right the whole time. So like whoever suggests early on that it's some sort of evil spirit of the river who's attacking the boat, and that's who the killer is. When it's revealed that it's been Willie the whole time, when he's finally destroyed and they've killed him, he like reanimates because he is the vessel of an evil river spirit.
Okay.
I don't know. That way it's like, oh, we knew it was coming. We knew he was the killer the whole time. Surprise, there's more to it than that. There's an evil river spirit. Yeah?
Sure.
Because like my question is that all it is? Is like people get on the boat and he just starts murderizing them?
I mean, what it could also be is maybe the entire crew is in on it. Mm-hmm. And Willie at first tries to come off like, oh no, my compatriots have gone crazy. Come with me, I'll protect you. Mm-hmm. And then in the end, no, I'm one of them too.
Yeah. Mm. Well, what it comes down to, there's a key question to answer, and maybe we could take a break here and then answer it, is like, why is he doing this? And why? Like,
who knows why madmen do what they do?
Fair. If the motive sort of starts filling in the blanks, if it is an evil river spirit.
Well, now I want it to be supernatural, and I don't know if it's necessarily the river spirit doing it, but I love the idea of having a scene where Pete says something like, "The river demands a price, and we're gonna pay it in your blood." Ooh.
Having something that's even in the realm of like Death on the Nile, which is it's not a great movie, but just the idea that there's murders happening and trying to solve who's doing it, but not doing it in this high class Bulgarian detective way, but much more of like, these people are all gross river people escorting a handful of victims down the river, mm-hmm. and our last girl is just a musician who's trying to get to New Orleans. Mm-hmm. Just trying to survive. Like, we need to stop the boat. Maybe the one time they stop the boat, they get attacked by hillbillies. I guess hillbillies wouldn't be on the river. River folk.
Well, it'd be a matter of, okay, how would they stop the boat? They got to go damage the engine. Mm. They got to deal with the crew.
Or they hit safe harbor, quote unquote.
Well, how would they do that? They got to get to the pilot's the pilot room and then spin the wheel and to get over to shore. None of them necessarily know how to do that. I know you're thinking, well, how hard is it to pilot a steamboat?
These things are gigantic.
Well, it turns out it's real hard, especially when the crew does something like sabotage it or something like that. We could even have a scene that maybe these things come up. Maybe another boat is going by and they mm-hmm. try to signal for help. Mm-hmm. And all we did is just ship in, quite literally, more victims.
Even if it's just 3 or 4 guys.
It also doesn't have to be a river. I sort of latched onto the river. Mm-hmm. I know we said New Orleans. It could be going somewhere else. It could be going across a big lake. I don't know, or like.
I do think there's something active about the constant flow of the river. No, to back up though, do you think that the whole crew is in on this? Because I'm more of the mind that it should just be Willie.
Just Willie?
And that the other crew members are not good dudes. And even having Pete saying the river demands a sacrifice and I'm going to do it, pay for it in your blood. Like if that's a threat he's making to someone who's perpetuating the ruckus and the fear. It's like, you're not helping anything. We have a dead body on board, and I'm about to send you in the river to satisfy the river further and to stop all this. Like, I still think that can occur, but I like the notion of it is a one murderer doing this thing. Who is it?
I like that scene coming up. Someone gets killed, and the passengers are freaking out, and Pete shows up. And they're superstitious, so they even say that stuff. And he says, "Now get in your cabins." And they all get in the cabins, and they watch as Pete and like the two other crew members that are there kind of huddle up and talk about stuff. And whether we get both conversations or not, the passenger like, look, they're plotting how they're going to kill the rest of us.
Yeah.
And then it turns out they're actually talking. Pete's talking to his crew about like, okay, we got to find out who killed this person.
Yeah. You're not helping anything.
Yeah.
Yeah. Having. Using her as last girl mentality, she's going to be the cleverest one on the boat, the one who's probably asking the right questions and avoiding the right circumstances, right?
Sure.
Like if we're going to give...
Sometimes the last girl just survives because she's in the back of the group. But
but the best ones have like an active role through the story and through their wits or brains, their intellect, they survive to the end.
Sure.
Like Ripley and... Lori. Well, Lori kind of dumbs her way to the end.
Like I said.
Yeah. I like having a final confrontation of Minnie versus Will. Like that's I want to see it get to that where she has to fight it.
Okay.
Right. I don't know. You don't.
Sure.
Well, we don't have to talk about how we end it now because I still think there's a matter of why now? Why is he doing this? Those questions to be asked.
Okay.
And asked and answers. But before we get into that, we're going to take a quick break here with a few messages from 6.5 Media, and we'll come back with more Screamboat Killie. Music plays a big part in that original short.
Sure.
Could there be a way for her as a musician to placate the killer with music? Like there's a like having her play a few times, like, hey, we're bored on this boat, play for us. If you're this musician heading down the river, play for us. And maybe she does that on the first night, and that's why she's not being targeted, because I love your music, play for me, play for me again. Perhaps there's a way to satisfy the beast, whether it's just a human or if he has some sort of devil inside of him, that her playing is part of her power.
My inclination is to make it that he is instigated by it.
Oh, the music pisses him off?
Yeah, but if that's sort of what triggers whatever it is. That's what triggers the river to require payment. The beast within. If you would rather have it be the other way, that works. That's fine.
I think it's better to go the other way, because there could even be someone saying it's eerie out here tonight. I'm cold. I don't like it. Play some music for us, Minnie. And she plays something, and the captain saying like, the music settles the river.
Then why not just say keep playing?
Well, maybe there's something to your notion that no, the music is upsetting the river.
Because what occurs to me is we could even have early on, Willie could say to the captain, like, Captain, are you sure they're musicians, sir? Are you sure we should let them on board? You know how the river gets, but we need the pay, or says something like that. And it like that's even a part of the reason that like Willie only in a second viewing do you realize Willie purposely did something to cause them to cast off early. That's why Minnie misses the boat initially.
Because he doesn't want the musician there. So the music does something to him. So maybe it does upset him.
Okay, so for the backstory I'm thinking that doesn't necessarily come out in the movie is Willie is a murderer, and the best place to hide out / not give into that is out on the river with a bunch of other hard luck, hard bitten men. And that's a way he can live a quiet life.
And then every time they hit port, he can disappear into town and satisfy his lust.
If that's even a thing he wants to do, or he can just stay on the boat and stay on the river, stay away from people. But every time people get near, every time he hears music, it boils something up with him. It's not that he has to dislike music. Maybe that's what awakens him.
I love the music.
Yeah,
it taps into my true nature.
Something like that, and so he's found this boat of seemingly ne'er do wells to make his life, his crew. And because they don't take on passengers almost ever. When they do, it's one or two, maybe like a salesman, whatever. He stays in his cabin.
A freaking writer.
Yeah, things like that. But now, this time, they've taken on a boat of young people.
from the 20s, nonetheless.
I don't know. That's my initial thought. It doesn't have to be that. It could be that music is
soothes him,
soothes the beast, because that is a little more archetypal. We'll say.
I don't know. You do make a fair argument for why it should. Why she would miss the boat, or like why he would try to get so she doesn't miss the boat.
I mean, there could even be a thing at the end where she thinks that's what's like, oh, my playing is stopping, like, because he hesitates when she plays, and then she stops, and then so he then tries going around the crates another way, and she starts playing again, and it's not that it's actually soothing him, it's almost more of a curiosity, and he's kind of playing, and like at a certain point he like lures in almost like he's being
seduced by it,
lulled by it, and then he gets close enough. He goes for it, and he's like, "Your music doesn't quiet the urge. It
ignites it."
Yeah.
He he twists her arm behind her back and just starts cranking it, and she's like, "It's a callback.
That is a good callback.
It's an homage.
It is."
Oh man, this is tough. I like both. I like the idea that the music would soothe him. I like the idea that the music would instigate this, that it would unlock the devil within. So I don't know which way
That's
to go.
That's an NXS song.
The devil within.
The devil inside. The devil inside.
Every single one of us.
A devil inside.
We will do a 1928 version of
nice.
that
I
song.
love Westworld.
Yeah. So, okay, well, whether or not it's the music that does it, how does this end? She's going to defeat this guy and toss him into the river. The river needs to be fed blood in the end, and so she murders him, and then, of course, the post-credits stinger is he crawls out of the river with his throat slashed, and he's still alive. Like, if we want to sequel bait it. But a final confrontation... Here's the final confrontation image of this. The boat is on fire, and it's the last two of them as it's like rolling towards New Orleans, like it's getting closer and closer to the city and or its destination, and this thing is an inferno, and they're having their final confrontation, final face off. And I think maybe I'll get on board with this, that the music is what upset him in the first place, and two things. The music upset him, but she's pretty, so he wanted the music to stop, but he was attracted to her, so he killed the others. Like he satisfied his lust by killing the writer or the two party goers that were going down for Fat Tuesday, to killing the crew member who caught him in the act. And he didn't want to kill her because he's like, you're an angel, you're beautiful. I would not want to destroy something so perfect. But every time you play that goddamn ukulele, I want to shove it down your throat. Guitar, it's a guitar. Is that track? Like, is that?
So I more like the idea that it's not that he's infuriated by the music. He's he's excited by it.
So it like revs him up, and he's like, "Yeah, now I want to murder."
Yes. Yeah.
Look at me dance a little jig. Ooh, I gotta get this out of my system. Okay, yes,
I got the Steamboat Willies.
I got the Steamboat Willies. That, as you know, a very offensive term. Okay, now yes, you're onto something there, because then if he's been placating,
that's what I've been trying to say. Is it's not that he dislikes music,
Mm-hmm.
it's that he likes it murderously.
Okay, thank you. That clarification actually helps quite a bit, because that explains why he, like, once he's like, I'm smart enough to know this music should not be here, which is why every time I get to New Orleans, I get my murder out, because I get down there and we all hit the shore and go nuts for the weekend, and we get back on the boat and go north, and then my urges are satisfied till I get down. But we've never had a musician on the boat now, and why do I wait till I get to New Orleans to unlock who I am on the inside? Play for me. Right, got it. Yes.
All right.
She's gonna have to kill this guy.
Yeah.
Does it come? I do see the scenario where it's the captain, the final girl, and Willie, like our original three main characters.
Okay.
Captain goes first. Like he kills the captain, or do you want the captain to?
Oh no, I'd like the idea of. So here's what I'm. My thought is she's the last person on the boat.
Yeah.
Which doesn't bode well, because she doesn't necessarily know how to pilot this
so
boat.
Captain's dead.
Yep.
He's the second to last. He's the second to last survivor. So it's he dies, and then it's her.
Yeah.
Then it's got okay.
What do you think of the idea of actually even using what they do in the cartoon? They're not far enough away from shore yet, or from even the docks and stuff, that she's like waving at the ship, running along, and Willie's the only one there. She's like, "Hey, I know you hear me. I know. Come on. I'm supposed to be on that ship. Come on. Help me." And he's like,
I can't do it.
And she's like, "I know you see me. You see me. You're looking at me. I see you." And so he reluctantly swings the crane out. And says, "You got to grab on." And she's like, "Are you crazy?
Show me your underwear."
And she grabs on the hook, and he swings her on board.
Yeah.
To the point that, right, so that's how she gets on board. And in the end, she tricks him in a way that lets her get him on the hook and swing him out over the river. And she drops him into, earlier on, we learned one of the reasons, like one of the survivors may say and even try, why don't we just jump for it and swim for shore?
Yeah.
There's alligators. Just constantly alligators.
So he's going to get eaten alive by alligators?
He's going to get eaten alive by alligators, hanging from the hook.
Good.
To the point that, like, she drops him in, and we hear the water surge, and we hear all that, and we even hear him scream and stuff. But it's too dark. She can't necessarily... We might see, not silhouette, but, like, really faintly see it in the dark. To the point that we see New Orleans approaching. She goes, she tries to pilot something like that. So that way, when she does get there, the boat crashes or something, and she gets off. And she looks back at the hook, and like there should be something there, like something hooked on, whether it's his overalls or like
he's naked,
his arm, or there should be something. And he's not there.
Yeah. Ooh. I want to add a scene somewhere in the midpoint that they reach a point where the steamboat slows down in the daytime, and they have the crew has this habit of this area where the river opens up nice and big, and they can slow down a little bit, and they do swimming. Like they jump off the boat while it's moving, and they use the crane to get back on. Like they have this tradition of swimming and using the crane. So that we can see the crane operated at the very beginning when she's boarded. Somewhere at the middle, we see the crane operating again. And in that scene, Will doesn't get off the boat because Will can't swim. So I just want some sort of scene where there's play and fun happening before the first murder, maybe even that night after their fun out on the river. That's when she plays for the first time. That the first murder happens that night. But establishing that he can't swim and seeing the crane in operation, so that's just Chekhov's boat crane.
I'm currently recalibrating. I was thinking this would all take place in one night.
Initially, I did suggest something a while back that this would be get off the boat, get off before sunrise. But no, I think this could be a series of like a couple days, 3 days maybe, 2 days, like just so that there's.
Just so we have that day swimming scene.
Yes, exactly. We're not gonna night swim. There's alligators out there. You kidding me? My God. This is the last place we can. This is the last place we can swim because there's alligators from this point on. Yeah, because there should be.
This part of the river is too cold for them.
They're freshwater. Having some red herring threats as well. Like, I like the notion that the crew is creepy and they're weird, and one of them could easily be the suspect, like the murderer on board. One of our guests being a murderer as well, like one of the other passengers. Mm-hmm. And even hitting some point on the river where some river folk attack the boat, where they have to fend off from like some river bandits.
I don't want river bandits. I think what I like more is they're passing a certain place, and a raft or two approach the boat, mm-hmm. and maybe the crew, the captain, or someone says that they're pirates or pirates or bandits or whatever. Mm-hmm. Really, it's the locals, and they know this boat is bad news. Oh, yeah. They're trying to drive it off. They're trying to, get
out of here! They're after our moonshine.
It's a hex to them.
Yeah, that actually could help especially if the first murder has happened before that sequence of running to the river folk who are chasing them off. They could have like deep superstitious beliefs that like there's a demon surrounding you, there's a devil surrounding
someone gets on board, you're all gonna die.
Yeah. Bye.
When they don't even say bye before a crew member like gets them and throws them over, or something.
You're all gonna die.
Right, so to initially suggest I'm gonna kill you, but that's not what he's doing. Yeah. He's trying to warn them.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. As it stands right now, just the suggestion that there's a supernatural force that ultimately there isn't.
Also, by the way, very early on, our passengers find two both. I think the first terrible things that happen is that they find mutilation. The animals. Some of the animals that have been have been strangely mutilated.
So after the first strumming of the guitar,
something like that, maybe even later that first night. Mm-hmm. No one knows how it happened. Just one of the passengers went poking around, and I found a dead goat.
It may perhaps discovering say one of the crew members discovers the mutilated animals.
I was going to say a passenger, because then the passenger is going to get alarmed, but it probably shouldn't happen, because no one's going to see that happen and be all like, oh well, it's day, let's go for a quick swim.
No. I do think the getting them on the boat, sending them down the river, she gets on, introduce the characters. Okay, who are you? You're this character, this character. Okay, you're the weirdo crew, you're the weirdo passengers. I'm Minnie, that's Will, that's Captain Pete. Getting them established, sending them down the river as the sun is setting for the first nights, telling stories of their travels or whatnot. Just a little character development. And, mm-hmm. and hey, Minnie, you're going to, we get to hear her backstory. Yeah, where are you going? I'm going to New Orleans. I play guitar. I'm going down there to play. That's my dream. Play something for us. I don't think that we need that. No, go ahead, play something. So she plays something. It's sweet, but there's something eerie.
I think it's the song.
Yeah, you're right. You shouldn't go to there. Destiny didn't want you to make this book.
What was it called? Is Turkey
in the hay?
Turkey in the hay. No, it was something else.
Hey, Turkey in the
something. Hey. Turkey in the barn.
In the hay song. Turkey in the hay song. Turkey in the straw. Hey.
Turkey in the straw. That's what it was.
Turkey in the straw. Hey. Turkey in the straw. Hey. Stop. I want to murder someone listening to this music. So she plays, and she's very good. Like, it's some sort of sweet, almost "Oh Brother, Where Art Thou," like just a good guitar song sung by this beautiful singer. And
you don't want to take the tune that's associated with the thing that is now public domain, put it in minor key, and slow it down a whole lot.
That's the score of the movie. I mean, when I hear that,
I want to murder
her. So she does that night. After everyone's sort of settled, a passenger goes out and finds the mutilated remains of an animal.
Okay.
And it starts there. So then the next day starts, and that could be the swimming day.
So would we want to present this all from the passenger's point of view, so everything the crew does is creepy and mysterious, or does the audience get to see both sides and they see why the passengers they get the perspective of the passengers and why the passengers think it's creepy, but we also get it from the crew's perspective? Basically what I'm thinking, so that first night, if they find a dead animal, the crew finds it, they go tell the captain, and we can always do the dialogue to make it sound suspicious, but it pretty much absolves the crew in their conversation, like, what happened? And they think it's supernatural. They're like, it's the river.
The river, yeah.
We gotta be extra careful tonight, boys. Something like that. Then we go back to the passengers, and one of them's like, "Ooh, I saw them throwing a body overboard. It was a goat. It was something like that."
I see what you're saying. That if we do it strictly from, say, even just Minnie's perspective, then everyone looks suspicious. And because if we see the crew going, "Oh my God, what's going? We're scared that something died," you say it absolves the crew from being suspects.
Sort of. There's a way to do it that doesn't necessarily. Basically, I want to suggest the passengers. I also don't want to do it from any one character's point of view. I don't want it to be from Minnie's.
I also agree because I evoked the last voyage of the Demeter earlier.
Sure.
And I think that's a good template tonally to look at, because while we do have the main protagonist of the boat, we do see it from the whole experience from multiple perspectives. We just never see it from Dracula's perspective.
Sure.
So I think that if one crew member, if a passenger finds the remains, or a crew member finds the remains and goes to the captain, and we don't get to see anything from Pete's point of view, we establish him as either suspect or complicit. If he's like, throw it overboard, just throw it overboard, okay? The river, it just write it off as the river. If he's the one who's being a little cagey, no matter who's witnessing it, the crew member or a passenger, Pete's the one that looks a little suspicious.
Okay.
Does that satisfy what you're thinking?
Sort of. I'd rather. I wouldn't want it to just to potentially implicate Pete.
I certainly want some of these passengers to be suspects.
Oh no, I just wanted all the crew to be suspects. The passengers, they're all innocent.
Okay.
And I guess after the first day, they're all terrified.
Well,
because they start dying.
I would like one of the passengers to be a novelist, a writer, who is into it. Like, ooh, a murder on a boat. Oh yeah. No, this is like he's into the danger and the like. Ooh, I'm gonna be the next Arthur Conan Doyle. I'm gonna like this is Sherlock stuff. Like it's almost a little too into it. Where like one might think you're doing this just to create the drama. So then one of the passengers also seems like a suspect as much as a victim. He could be the next one to die, but yes, I think the crew should all feel like suspects, and the majority of the passengers should seem innocent.
But I don't mind the idea of getting both perspectives, but what the perspectives are is the passengers are wary of the crew, and when the crew is talking, I see what you're saying, making them wary of passengers, but I actually wanted all the crew to think it's supernatural.
Okay, yeah, I'm okay with that.
To the point that they're like, it's happening again, Captain.
Yes.
That kind of thing.
Yes,
so,
I'm on board.
That's why they don't suspect any of the passengers. They weren't here last time.
Right.
That kind of thing.
Give me a life vest. I'm on board. Yeah.
Oh, you want to be one of the passengers?
See, I tried to miss the pier because the sun was setting when the boat was setting off, and I've heard that's bad. First night, animal mutilation. Next day, they've disposed of it. There's something suspicious going on, but everyone's sort of relaxed. We get the swimming, like we get to see them jumping in the water and having a good time. Play music for us again that night, and then the first real murder occurs.
Ooh, we can ruin the swimming thing.
Go ahead.
All right, so the boat has to stop that next morning or day or whatever, and the captain doesn't say why, but he takes a rowboat, which we can destroy later on to take away hope of escape.
Yeah. Maybe when the boat's attacked by the river folk in the next sequence.
Sure.
Cap takes the boat.
Maybe with one of the crewmen, tells Willie, keep an eye on the passengers. goes to shore, comes back with a witch doctor or like a voodoo mambo to I guess be religiously insensitive.
Well, it was 1928, so that was perfectly considered.
So us in 2025 are okay saying
no,
that.
it's still wrong, Jim. Terribly offensive. Right,
But
comes
basically
back with some sort of
comes out to
shaman.
bless the boat with pagan blessings, which freaks the passengers out, ruins the entire swimming. Like they actually start having a good time. They start calming down, and then
the boat comes
this
back.
Freaky bone caster comes out.
I think it would be even more.
A haruspex.
I like where you're going with that because it feels apt to the era and the style of this movie. But there's also something to be said about a really puritanical Christian getting out of the boat and doing like just the like looking like a Quaker hat and everything and being a freaky deaky Christian man. Some sort of pastor.
I think we can work that out in the writing of it. Either way,
whether it's whatever religious sect it is, someone comes on the boat, ruins the what is this creepy thing?
Almost verifies that something weird is going on.
It happened again, Captain. All right, well, we'll get it at the next port. Maybe he even tries to like keep it low key for a while, like the swimming and like they're getting everyone back on the boat.
It might even be when he left the ship. He was not expecting, like the passengers were all like, "Let us do this, Willie. Let us do this." Mm-hmm. So then when he gets back, he's mad about it.
Like, why are they swimming?
Yeah.
Like, that's
what are you doing? What are you doing? Like, don't jump in the river. No one jumps in the river. Not no one. Not no how.
So the fun day is ruined by all this, and as the sun is setting,
fun day is ruined by religion.
And that seems. How many Sundays have been ruined by religion? Most of them. Some Saturdays too, depending what you believe.
Yeah.
So to settle everyone, as everyone's mood is kind of soured as the sun's setting, Minnie plays again, and then that night the first real murder occurs.
Sure.
And then the scream of that happening, the commotion that occurs, discovering the body in the night, and having fear as the sun rises, and then now things are starting to churn along. Like,
oh crap! I mean, depending on how much, like what musicality we want to have trigger our murderer, I was actually initially thinking everything from even like the whistle, the whistle of the steamboat, like he like shudders or something like that, and that could be why he kills the goat, because it has a bell around its neck.
Oh, sure, that's great. That's great. Yeah, I like that.
So each of these things he's trying to silence something. That's why that goat died initially.
But the song she plays that night finally lights the fire, and he embraces it. He's like, "Now I'll get my thirst out by killing it. I need to kill. I knew you fired me up. I need to kill someone."
Sure.
And the fight has to be resolved.
You wouldn't stop. You wouldn't stop playing.
Yeah. So murder occurs. Sunset comes up, and then then the rest of the movie takes place in relatively quick. Like once the
basically it's 2 nights, right? Then the second night, all the murders start happening.
The sun comes up after the first murder has occurred. Over that course of the day, some suspicious and whatnot. But as the sun's setting, and that's when the next murder occurs, the action starts picking up, and ultimately fingers start getting pointed. You're safe with me. Alliances are formed, and then having it.
Oh, if the passengers don't all know each other, they could even die before the whole swimming scenario. The crew is just like, oh no, that passenger, they said they're ill. No, they're ill.
Oh, they're in their bunk.
They're in their bunk, and that's why when the captain comes back, it's to get somebody to take the body.
The having a body killed somewhere that we didn't witness, that like yeah.
But so now if we're thinking the trigger, it doesn't always like. Maybe the reason for that one is not necessarily the writer, but someone played. Why would they have a record? But that's the idea. Like, yep, here in my tiny cabin, I made sure to bring my record player with big old phonograph. I love your music. Stab, stab.
Getting the escalation happening so that it ultimately reaches a. Oh wait. The murder happens in the night. The day comes up. The suspicion is occurring as it's getting near the end night, and the action is really going to start picking up. That's when like the river people attack the boat and
I
say,
forgot
like,
about river people.
and be like, this boat has a devil on it, and we're not letting you go any further down the rivers. They have to fend off these people. There could be a conversation like, well, the guy coming out like, you're all gonna die. Yeah.
Actually, that could even be the response. Whoever your super religious guy, rather than it being a hoodoo blessing,
Yeah.
which is what I was initially thinking. That priest retrieves the body, but then through right off-screen conversations, the locals are like, no, someone was murdered out there. Like, no, they're a bunch of creeps.
That's a Screamboat.
Yeah, that's totally a Screamboat.
That's a Screamboat. We got to stop that Screamboat.
Stop that Screamboat before there's more Killie.
Yeah. That fight takes place. They get rid of the river folk. There's a calm, and then launching us into the leading to the like more deaths are occurring. Maybe Willie finally reveals himself not soon after the river folk have attacked, and then it's like. Okay, river folk attack. Everyone's a little like really rattled now. Like that guy said he killed people. We got a new dead body on. The boat's like speeding along, like picking up steam to like get away as fast as possible.
Well, and then so if it's from there, if there's no more, if there's no what do you call it?
Reprieve.
Yeah, if there's no reprieve, like literally now the passengers are freaked out, like because they're gone, like. What is going on, Captain? You cannot predict what is happening here. And like one of the passengers comes from the back of the boat, holding their own guts. And it's like, and they fall over. And behind them is like the crew member in the rain slicker holding a bloody knife, and they got blood.
Yeah.
And then so all the passengers are like, oh my god,
it was Slicker.
And he's like, no, I found
this.
Right, so
panic.
The panic begins.
Let's calm them down.
So now the misdirection is we're running from this guy, and our crew runs around the boat, and it's just a cartoon running around. But like within that, someone else gets hurt somehow, and then Willie's there, and they're like, Willie. The Rain Slicker's he's crazy, and then Rain Slicker comes around the corner. And Willie kills him. Oh,
wait, back up. I like where you're going here. I like the momentum. But early on, maybe the first time Minnie plays, there's like an older person on the boat that she soothes, or someone she soothes with the music, where it's like, gosh, you remind me of XYZ. So that when all the panic is happening, if that one's like hurt but not killed, like dying, like play one more song for me. If everyone sort of secludes themselves in fleeing Slicker and the miscommunication, if it's Will and Minnie and the dying one, and Minnie plays for the dying friend, the dying person, and that's when Willie is revealed to be like, and then she looks down like, I hope you feel better, and the dying person looks up and goes, and then Willie just goes, gah, 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 like just kills the person right in front of Minnie.
Sure.
Yeah. Okay. Fight! Panic! It's insane. Gunfire goes off. The steam engine is getting faster and faster and faster. It blows, starts the fire, and then it comes down to a throwdown between Willie and Pete. Willie gets Pete, and then it's Willie and Minnie, and he's like, play for me. You've unlocked it in me, and I want it. Please, just play for me.
Sure. Okay.
Pitch something else. I'm just trying to get us to the climax.
Once it's awake, I don't think we need to keep going back to the music thing, because he's in full murder mode now.
Yeah. It's unlocked. We don't need the music anymore.
Yeah.
Okay.
Especially if we wanted to do the misunderstanding where she thinks it actually calms him down.
Yeah.
Then it culminates with just her and him. In the hook. The hook
grabs him, chucks him in the river. He can't swim, eaten by alligators, and she can't stop the boat as it crashes into New Orleans.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And of course, we leave the indication that Willie could still be out there for the sequel.
Mm-hmm.
Steamboat Killie, whatever the next public domain Mickey Mouse cartoon title is.
Yeah.
Yes. And not a supernatural force in the end. I actually am. I think it's fun to come up with a slasher that isn't hoodoo voodoo. That it isn't a demon or it's just it's just a psycho from 1928.
But like Jason
Mm-hmm.
and Michael Myers, when we get into the sequels, we can start doing more supernatural stuff with them.
I mean, like he's just like the effects of the Great Depression on this guy. Because we're 1 year away from 1929 was the Great Depression, and if this is 1928, like it's building up to the Dust Bowl and all that.
With every stockbroker that drops out of the sky, Screamboat Killie rises from the bayou.
My bloodlust is satisfied by every Wall Street rich son of a bitch who dies.
How did they make that connection? These writers are really stretching.
Yeah, I feel like they're commenting on something, and that's not what Steamboat Willie was made for.
No.
It
was made for barnyard shenanigans on a ship.
Playing on cow teeth.
Yep.
With xylophone hammers that you pull out of your cartoon. Mm-hmm. No, I can't. I'm not going to reference that because that's from the Patreon. Yep. Okay.
I will, from your cartoon butthole.
All right, Steamboat Killie.
I think we did it. Yeah.
Like, I'm sure what we get with Screamboat is going to be schlocky. I think Craig is correct that it's going to be blood and honey. Just they made it as fast as possible.
Yeah.
I'm sure they had fun making it. We've made horror movies. We know how fun horror movies can be.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. I think there's something there. There's no reason it has to be schlocky.
No.
If this was a 1928 period piece slasher movie on a steamboat, name another. Is there another movie that's done that?
Not that I can immediately think of.
I think that's a pretty.
I can think of some role playing adventures where that happened.
Deadlands have stuff like that.
It did. It had one where the characters are all stuck on a steamboat, and a skinwalker is murdering people. So you don't know who they are because they're stealing people's skins.
You got to be careful with that term because back in 1928, that was terribly offensive. All right, Craig.
It's still offensive now. I mean, the supernatural, the superstitious belief is just saying that term makes them aware of you.
Ooh, okay, great.
Mm-hmm.
Like we don't have enough problems in this city right
now. Look,
I
am trying to get more listeners.
Okay, great. if we just have one, like someone's like Skinwalker's like, I need to listen to a podcast. Someone just evoked me. Craig, how did we do? We would love to know how we did. We're going to wrap up here, but you can let us know how we met your demand today. Did we give you something that you feel satisfies it? Did we agree, disagree? What did we miss? Whatever you got. You can message us directly at studiodemandsit.com. And that's not just for Craig. That's for anyone listening. How did we do? You can find us on Instagram as well. If you're not already, you can subscribe to us on any podcatcher of your choice. And if you feel like giving us a little review, it's so simple. You can do it right there in the app. And if you write a 5-star review that's amusing enough, I'll start reading those things on the air. Gosh darn it. You can find us on YouTube and TikTok, where we post video content, including material not here on the show. Jim, where else can people find us to talk about episodes?
You can find us on Discord. Go to our website, studiodemandsit.com, and at the top of the page, there is a Discord link. You can select and get the invite to the Discord group server thing. The other place is on Reddit. You can go to r/studiodemandsit to our subreddit and join the conversation there. Yep.
All right. If you'd like even more of us, we do have a Patreon for a couple bucks a month. You can get episodes early, as well extended double-length episodes, our movie commentary tracks. You can also just show some love by subscribing for free. Costs you nothing. Massive thank you to 6'5 Media for everything that they do in giving us 6 beautiful years of this show. Very excited here. Jim, unless anything else comes to mind, we have the cow, the parrot.
Mm-hmm.
We
did we do the parrot?
There's a parrot. Sure, there's a parrot.
There's a parrot.
We got Pete. We got Minnie. We got Willie. We got a whole bunch of extra characters that we just made up.
Mm-hmm.
I think we did it. Anything else?
No.
Nope. Okay. Well, with that said, we will be back again with another one of your demands to challenge ourselves to improve the world of cinema. I am TC.
I am thinking of a second plot.
You still have time.
Oh no! What? So
turkey in the straw. Hey, 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 hey! Turkey in the straw.
right.
Hey, hey,
All right. So super quick. The other is to go with your notion that do a big old riverboat, and there's a clandestine poker tournament that is on it. A whole bunch of people are initially invited on. Only once they're off at sea, it turns out it's one of them murder contests, and super rich people are playing poker with other people's lives
to kill people.
Yeah.
Oh.
And maybe our main character is actually a part of the band, and thus initially immune and separate from the killing, but just clearly watching this horror show. But as the bodies dwindle down and as they feel compelled to do something or try to escape,
a little bit of Ready or Not.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like that. Well, okay.
Just real quick, that's
another one is what if the guitar player in this scenario has to go up against the fiddle playing devil?
That's the wrong IP.
Oh, damn it! All right. Well, maybe next time. All right.
What about another boat gets a whole bunch of people, passengers on it, and what the passengers don't realize at first, what they all have in common is that they are all trying to get away from their pasts. So they're all kind of like not quite on the up and up people. And it turns out the steamboat is going to hell and is powered by screams, by their deaths. And so the crew is actually demonic beings who grab them and shove them into the steam engine.
Boiler.
And now our character has to get away into the rivers of hell.
I've heard of a Screamboat, but this is ridiculous. Bye, everyone.
Bye-bye. I'm Jim.